I read this comment out because I find it a little bit alarming that among the demands that are being made in this relook of next of kin is that if a woman remarries, she should get no recognition, no compensation, no insurance. You look at Meghna ma'am's case where, she has with open heart encouraged her daughter-in-law to find another, another chance at life and love. And I mean, we can't become petty and start smearing women. There's that part of the story. And there's also, of course, today, before you speak, I just want to play out the images of Captain Brigadier Thapar. His parents, his father's a colonel in the army. And, you look at these images and you think of this young man in his 20s. He has today died in the Doda terror encounter, right? And now you think, what must his parents be feeling? So you feel from the parents' perspective, you feel from the spouse's perspective, and you want to feel from both sides. Is the will the answer? Is a will the answer? The army argues that there's a will, and that's the answer. Whatever the soldier leaves in his will, that should be the way forward. Do you agree with that, or do you think, like General Yash Mor and Meghna Girish, that there needs to be a rethink?
Barkha, you made a very important point towards the end. I'll come to that. But first, I want to tell you that in my about 4 decades of uniform service, it all, I've seen parents throw away a young widow even before the ashes became cold. I've seen a widow walk away, a young widow married 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, walk away with everything and left their parents. I'm talking about officers. Their parents in penury and with nothing. I've seen in Jawans this is happening, that a wife walks away. I've seen even the worst. It happens a lot with North India. Yash will agree with me, and even in my regiment, that there's a concept of chadar udana, that possibly the widow of is married brother of the deceased soldier, so that the pension and the benefits stay at home. And most of the times, the widow does not have a say. Even her parents say, who will marry a widow? This has happened very recently. Now we come, so I've seen it all. There at least in my lifetime. In fact, one in my unit, my own unit, which is playing out right now. The issue is there are legalities involved. There's a time what Yash said that we as CEOs used to tell them 80-20, 70-30. I've also done it. I used to tell them, your parents are, they've raised you, made you capable. Please leave them something. Because what happens is, earlier what used to happen, a Jawan, when he got recruited, NOK parents, everyone writes parents. Most of the times when he got married, the Part 2 order got delayed. Not till the Part 2 order is done, officially it doesn't get endorsed that you got married and she's your wife entitled to. And they don't change. And okay, Jawans are a little careless in this matter. As CEOs, we used to tell them, no, do it. Because once he's made that will, 70-30, 100%, 50-50, that has to be played out that way. Insurance is different. Insurance, group insurance runs by the Supreme Court directive that insurance is shared in all class 1 heirs. That is the mother, the children, and the wife. I know of an incident where an officer's wife died. Yash also knows him. He was married before that. He was divorced. He had a child. His mother was living. His second wife had a daughter. And she complained to me. She says, Thapar, the insurance got divided in 4 ways. I said, sorry, this is a Supreme Court ruling. So there is nothing you can do about the insurance part. Yes, ex gratia, there should be some rules. But we need to educate our Jawans or the lesser element, not the even officers. Some officers need to be educated that you've got to leave something for a parent. Not everyone. Everyone is capable of earning. A lot of us have raised their children hoping that he will look after us in the old age. A lot of people. In this case, the father is a JCO. He's getting a pension. Maybe if he is not a JCO, quite a few people look forward to their children looking after them in their old age, financially, even otherwise. So this may not be in this case. We need to inculcate this habit that it could, like General Yash suggested, it could be at a sliding scale. That initial 2 years of marriage, 50-50. One child is born 75-30, 75-25, maybe 80-20 at the worst. Uh, it is the matter of there is a greed, there's a factor, there's also a need factor. In some cases, there's a factor of need, maybe not in this case, but what is being done to the daughter-in-law in this case is horrific, bad. It should not happen.
Yeah.
They are. I won't say they are he's a JCO. He is retired at a fairly high level. He should have that much uh, say that he shouldn't bring a family matter.
So,
It could have been discussed.
so,
The elders of both sides
so,
could have sat down and discussed it and sorted this out
so
instead
you're
of making it a
so you're
public
not
thing. And I must add that this has become public figure just because Rahul went there. Otherwise, it wouldn't have become that much of a public figure, public issue.
possibly, and at that time the focus was on the family's comments on Agniveer. It was a very different focus, and now it's gone into a very different direction. Now, General Yash Mor, on this, I'm glad that both Brigadier Thapar and Meghna Girish have spoken about the pressure on young women. It works both ways, right? We've seen both kind of situations, and I think both have referred to that. Now, in this particular case, I don't know if it's true, but some reports suggested that that Smriti, the wife of Captain Anshuman, was being pressured to marry her brother-in-law. And these are the kind of things that you feel very worried about, and also these demands that basically suggest that if you're widowed at a young age, you should not marry, and if you marry, you should give up everything. This doesn't seem fair to women, right? And by the way, as women now get into soldiering at the front line, this is soon going to see a reversal also. This is not just going to be any more about wives alone. This is going to be about spouses. So this needs some application of both thought and compassion. General Yash Mor.
Absolutely. Thought and compassion and the social realities of India. Like I speak on Agniveer scheme, I always add this, it's a socio-economic factor. How can you ignore the, what is happening to our youth, rural youth? In one day, you've just, demolished all their dreams. So in our country, our issues are a little different. Like same issues with NOK. I think with the years of marriage or with children or not without children, I won't comment on that. There must be gradual, there can be a thing worked out where, and also we can consider the financial condition of the parents. Look, Barkha, ye reality hai. Officer or yes, many come from families where, parents are just farmers, and get married to women who are highly educated from very well-to-do kiar wo hai. And then suddenly, if the child goes away, you can imagine that trauma. They can't even live their entire life comfortably. So while we totally empathize with the young woman losing her husband at this stage, and the media light and the kind of our social media is really, I think, a very, very sad place to be. But we are all there, in some form or the other. But you really can't read the comments. But overall, I think we need the Army, Navy, and Air Force must sit together and work out. Maybe take analysis, maybe speak to veterans, maybe speak to families. And AGIF will have all the data of last 20, 30 years, at least from Kargil onwards, who have died, what happened. So many cases piled up. So many cases piled up. I think we can work out this. And there is no, NOK also, and especially as, Meghna ma'am said, the liberalized family pension is very good. It's really very good. You get your last pay drawn. That surely can be shared. Some part with the mother, with the father. And that महीने की एक तारीख को अगर आपको 20-30-40 हजार रुपया कुछ भी अगर आ रहा है ना, that will lighten up their life and they can spend that money on grandchildren. और या स्कूल बनाते हैं. बहुत से लोगों में ये रहता है हमारे बच्चे की याद में हम क्या करके जाएं. और ये मत सोचा सिर्फ शहरों में होता है. गांव में स्कूल में कमरा बना देना, स्कूल के बाहर एक गेट बना देना अपने बच्चे की याद में, कोई गौशाला बना देना, कोई प्याऊ बना देना. These are, you go to our villages and see. तो तभी बनाएगा ना जब उसके पास कुछ होगा तो उसको फक्र होगा, चलो ये मेरे बेटे की शहादत पे मेरे को मिला था तो मैंने जो है उसके नाम पे एक स्कूल में कुछ कर दिया, गांव के अंदर कुछ कर. So seeing all this, I think there is a requirement to have a relook at this entire policy of NOK.
Meghna ma'am, if I can bring you in, and you said कि आपकी अपने case में you gave up everything. Why did you do that? And two, did you consciously say that I have a very young daughter-in-law? I am not going to bind her. I am going to encourage her. That's what my son would have wanted. That's what my grandchild would want. आपके मन में क्या था? You know, it's very important to understand how difficult it was for you. Did you feel like you were letting go, or what did you feel?
No such thing, Barkha. First of all, the unit JCO who came with the paper said, as per the will, you have been, whatever, 33% nanas in the AGAF. I said, first of all, I don't need it. That was my first thought. I don't need it. So can I, give it back? Maybe put it in Naina's name when she's 18. That took about 6 months because the whole thing had to go through legal, and it's done. But let me tell you one thing, Barkha. A lot of parents have done this. It's not just us. I know of many cases. I just happened to be on your show and this came out. There are many who've done a lot. The point is not that. The point is that everyone here who's talking about the will can only divide your insurance. They cannot say, "Mere ex gratia mein se itna percentage inko de do." Especially not the central. State governments have themselves decided कि हम parents को इतना wife को इतना देंगे, and only very few state governments, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, maybe Uttarakhand, Maharashtra now, and most of them in the south like Karnataka, उनमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. They say कि एक का है ये lump sum and it goes to the next of kin. The next of kin for a married soldier is always the wife. Thirdly, pension का कोई division नहीं हो सकता. The soldier cannot say मेरा pension divide कर दो. There are conditions attached. Conditions is that the parents should have less than 9,000 rupees a monthly income. Less than 9,000 rupees monthly income. Please, why are there no such conditions for the pension to be dispersed to parents of unmarried soldiers then? Why is only parents of married soldiers being discriminated against with such conditions? Why should there be conditions when it comes to honor? Whether it's a condolence letter of pride, whether it is invitations, whether it is disbursement of ex gratia, you're giving a higher ex gratia out of honor, not out of need. Similarly, you have given the parents of unmarried soldiers the entire entitlements as next of kin, right? You've not asked them, go bring income certificate, मतलब तुम्हारे पास अपना घर है, स्कूटर है, 9,000 रुपए से ज्यादा तो तुम्हारे आमदनी होगी, कोई जाके एसेस करेगा, तुमको 9,000 rupees a month से ज्यादा पैसे मिल रहे हैं, तो even if you petition for a share, you're not going to get it. This is what is happening in all the cases that we have researched. When we did our study, we didn't do it thinking of, parents की तरफ से हमने नहीं किया, हमने किया families of brave hearts, जिसमें 80% तो wives का ही था. But what came out from the ground reality shaped our suggestions and recommendations. That is what shaped our recommendations. It was not our personal situation. It was never our personal situation. God has been kind to us financially. It was never. But yes, why would we, Girish and I, not want a letter saying, from the defense minister or the chief saying that we are proud of your son's sacrifice? Wouldn't I like it? Luckily, our unit is.
But does that happen? I want to understand something before I come to Brigadier Thapar for a last comment. Meghna ma'am, does that actually happen that even if, imagine, the spouse gets the bulk of the benefits, do parents actually stop getting invited to regimental functions, to commemorations? ये सच में क्या होता है?
हमारे केस में नहीं होता because the unit is in touch with us. But सबके केस में यही होता है.
क्योंकि एड्रेस चेंज हो गया ना. Finally we all follow what is there. Just when the address is changed, unit में किसको परवाह है एड्रेस कहाँ का है? So then after that, the moment they change the address and bank account, after the parents are gone. It's so sad.
Oh, that's very sad. That is very sad. That is really heartbreaking.
reality हमारी फौज की और हमारे उसकी सिस्टम की कि हमें कोई because फिर फाइनली सिस्टम में है, ठीक है, मतलब सैड है ये कि हम लोग अपने कितना याद करते हैं अपने जो चले गए फौज में. और यूनिट्स भी है, तो मैं जानता हूं अक्षय गिरी की यूनिट मेरे स्कूल का है, हम स्कूल वाले बहुत याद करते हैं ऑफिसर्स को. फिर भी जवान, मैं कह रहा हूं बरखा, यूनिट वाले कहाँ याद करते हैं यार? कौन पूछता है कौन से जवान का था? उस वहां पे यूनिट चली भी जाएगी ना 10-15 साल बाद, वो पूछने भी नहीं जाएंगे यार 71 की लड़ाई का कोई यहाँ पे है जो हमारी यूनिट के लिए कोई. हम अपने रोज के इसमें इतना बिजी है कि इन सब छोटी छोटी चीजों को, जो बड़ी जरूरी चीजें हैं, जो कॉमराडरी की चीजें, उनको भूल जाते हैं कहीं ना कहीं.
Gee, Brigadier Thapar, before I give Meghna ma'am the last word, if you'd like to come in, that, I didn't know that. I didn't know ki even commemorations, memories, anniversaries, regimental functions, if your address changes and the address is with the spouse, the parents don't get invited, that is really sad. What is the way forward, Brigadier Thapar?
It- It's not only the address, Barkha, what the journalist said. We in the unit you deal with the NOK. NOK is the last link you have with the family. So you do your best. You not even know it. Half the time you don't even come to know that this happened unless the family, the affected party comes and cribs to the CO. Sir, हमारे साथ ये हो गया है. That one has walked away. My in-laws have taken all the money, or the wife has taken all the money and gone. We are left destitute. So, but NOK is primacy, and in most cases it is the wife. So if somebody is serving from that person's unit, village, it brings out the fact to the attention of the authorities that no, the parents are also there, and then you definitely would like to invite. But like I said, NOK is the it depends on unit to unit, the drills, how good a unit is, how old they go back, because institutional memory fades away with time. They and now the soldiers and JCOs and officers, when ma'am's son was serving, another few years they will all have moved out. His memory will stay, but it will slowly, as those who have interacted with him, who are the unit, slowly, then it becomes more of historical fact, and so
Yeah.
that is what happens in most cases. He was an officer, and he showed the bravery, so he will be remembered forever. But slowly, the parents will be sidelined,
Yeah, forgotten.
or this happens forgotten after some time, 20
So,
years
so,
down the
so, so,
line, and so that happens,
yeah.
which is
So
sad.
all three of you seem to be in agreement, and I'll just give Meghna Girish the last word that the policy does need a relook. But Meghna ma'am, when you were pointing this out to former Army Chief General Malik on social media, he said, to avoid taking one side, because the complexities can be on either side. Sometimes it is the wife, the spouse who suffers. Sometimes it's the parents who suffer. We fell back on the will, and I know you posted the findings of your study or research, which showed how many families of poorer Jawans especially are going without the recognition. What then is the one change you'd like to see immediately in this policy, Meghna Girish?
I think what is required is fairness. You must consider parents or married soldier also parents. They don't cease to be parents because their soldier child was married. That is the first, you need to first mentally accept that. Once that is done, please extend honor in form of letter, in form of invites. Second, please extend whatever a small share in the honor that is given, the higher amounts that are given to the wife of a soldier killed in action. Thirdly, please give them ECHS treatment cards. Just give them cards. They may never use it. Just give it to them. At least they will enter a hospital and feel that हमारे बेटे की वजह से हम यहाँ घुस तो सकते हैं. If they don't need it, they'll in any case not use it. They will have their private insurance. And don't put conditions of 9,000 rupees a month income for anything which is related to honor, because you're not doing that when it comes to unmarried soldiers of parents, or for the wife. The wife could be a heiress for all we know, right? So don't do this. Don't equate money with honor. Secondly, what I would really like to point out here is we have more and more women in the services, and tomorrow, whether we like it or not, there could be casualties. Are you going to do the same thing with the parents of the woman, of the spouse? Or are you going to ask the lady officers never to put their husbands on their NOK lists? What are you going to do in your party order? How is this going to happen? Are you going to ask them also, are you getting less than 9,000 rupees a month? So I think it's very sad to do all this. Don't put money and honor together. Give them a small amount. If they don't need it, they will revert it back to the wife and the kids, or they will use it for their other children or for charity, which is fine, which is absolutely fine, because that's exactly the kind of respect that you're giving to the widow of the soldier.